All right, good morning. So we got a MD coding question from Lauri, and it's about moving the site headline from the content box into merging it into the header. So the email goes, I'm building a new website. I'm inspired a lot from the Startup Bros website design. That's a site that I designed or coded up into Marketer's Delight. The main thing I want to be able to do is copy how they show the headlines. The headlines seem to be inside the header. And Lauri is very astute, looking through the inspector and found that the header has different HTML classes than what comes with Marketer's Delight. So what's the question here? What are we trying to do? Essentially, this is what the default Marketer's Delight layout will look like. The headline is inside the content box, and we want to kind of mimic a layout where this headline will show up here. Now, if you use Marketer's Delight, you know that you can already move that with the header cover. So if you're inside your post editor and you have a featured image, you can set the position to header cover. You'll update your post, and then you'll see that the layout of your post is going to adjust. So now your headline is inside, or at least it's above your content box, and it's below the header now. So Lauri already knows this, and if you use Marketer's Delight, you may have seen this, but what if you wanted to add your own custom headline? Maybe you just wanted to do some cool, something unique with your headline. So while the MD content controls are pretty cool, we want to go do something custom. So how would we move that that headline outside into the header area? So another cool thing about this effect is that we're going to look inside the HTML here. We can see this entire section, this big header wrap area. This is all in this div right here. I'm in the inspector. So you can see that you have your header up here that's got your logo, your navigation, and then that the headline, the page title, is actually a part of the header now. So from a styling standpoint, you can make your headline blend right into your header so it all has the same background, which is a neat little effect. So if we wanted to go in and do a custom headline and blend into our header, this is how we would go about it. So I'm in my child theme. I have my child theme activated, and I'm inside my loader PHP file, and I already wrote out what we would do to do this. So I'll just kind of explain it because there is a little bit more. Whenever we're introducing and modifying how default Marketer's Delight functionality works, I like to do it, but I hate to break any existing features. So I made sure that when I modified how the headline works, that it's not going to interfere with our featured image controls, because why introduce something that's going to break everything else? So that's what some of these conditionals are. So I'll just save this file. So these two functions are going to move. Well, it's going to remove the headline and re-add our own custom HTML block. So this looks like it's the same headline, but it's actually loading this HTML function, and it has a little H1 tag and our title tag here. So this is something you can play with, and I'll explain it a bit more in depth, but let's quickly kind of look at what's going on here. So this first function that we have up here, it's the template redirect. So if we're trying to modify how our template works, I like to use hooks inside of this template redirect function, because I can use conditionals to only load these certain hooks on certain conditions. And again, I don't want to interfere with any of Marketer's Delight's default functionality. So there's a little bit extra going on here as well to make sure that we're only modifying the headline in the right situation. So we're inside of our template redirect function, and then we have this little if statement here. So I know that I only want to modify my headline on single posts. That's what this is, single condition, and pages. So any pages that I create from this section in WP admin or posts, that's going to affect the single posts. So our condition is saying if it's on a single post or if it's on a page. And so this is a little one that's a little bit trickier. So this is a little function, the MD featured image position. This will pull whatever your featured image position is set in here, which is pretty handy. So we have it set so that whatever we're going to do in here, which is removing the default of Marketer's Delight headline from the content box and then adding our own custom headline, we're going to make sure that it's only going to be firing when the MD featured image position either equals nothing or when you remove the headline, or I'm sorry, when you remove the featured image position. So when you select that. So, and we do this because if you set your featured image position to something like headline cover or so, then we're not going to be using our custom headline. We want to use Marketer's Delight's headline cover. So has restored back to the Marketer's Delight headline cover because the featured image position now does not equal nothing or remove. So nothing in here is going to fire, which again is removing the headline from the content box and then adding our own custom. And then this, the last condition I have here is if an MD has headline. So again, if you decided that you don't want the headline on this particular page, you can go down here into your layout section and click remove headline. So now adding this little check will make sure that our custom headline will still be removed if we do decide to do that for whichever post or page that we're on. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to set that back so we can see our custom thing. So just to run it down, this condition says if we're on a single post or page and the featured image position doesn't equal nothing or remove and the headline is on the page, let's go ahead and remove the Marketer's Delight headline, the default one, from the content box and then add in our own custom headline. So that custom headline is pulling from this second function. And this one I just kind of made up. I used a few different MD helper classes, and basically it adds just our own headline to the top of our site. And you'll see that when we inspect it, that if we look inside of our header wrap, we have our header, and then I have the main menu activated on this site, and then we have our header headline inside of it. So if we remove the background, the white background, the gray background, and the white background from that, we could make all this content the exact same color or background image or do whatever you want with it. And because we have our function, we can do anything that you would want right inside of here. So if you have any images or something that you want to play with, you can completely control the HTML there. So that's how you would do it. And again, it's only going to be showing up where we have it on template redirect. So I'll paste this code so you can play with. I hope that explanation made sense. Maybe open your mind up to a few things on how you can hook around in WordPress. And again, whenever we add new functionality, I hate to break existing stuff. So that's why there's a little bit extra code here, but it's definitely worth the versatility later down the road. So